Hi, I'm Tim from Goodwerks. If you're here watching this, you probably know who I am, and that's rad. So I decided that I wanted to start working on a podcast or a YouTube video series, kind of like showcasing the people in the Goodwerks community. And I figured that there probably wasn't really like better of a person to start with than Bryan, especially after having just finished the very first heavy drop training collective event.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about heavy drop training. We're going to talk about the Goodwerks influence with heavy drop training. We're going to talk a little bit about how heavy drop training has influenced me and like affected me. So yeah, we're just hanging out. We just finished the collective, like I said. So tell
The
listeners at home, viewers like you,
Yeah.
tell them what the collective is, and kind of give them a...
So, the collective. So heavy drop training events, typically we go with a more, I don't want to say completely individual, but it's more individual. So like the throwdowns and stuff are more individual based. The collective is built on the idea of more of a team-based event. So for this event, we had, I think there was 10 people that were actually signed up. 6 of them were able to make it. We had some car trouble and some other things that popped up. But the 6 of them worked together throughout the whole event. So, for workouts and stuff, it's all, a volume number. So based on whatever weight they came in with, we have 3 weight classes. So we take the weight, I have equations. Basically, I figure out a total number of volume for weight. And, the first workout was 143,000 pounds. So as a team of 6, they had to move 143,000 pounds of weight based on 5 exercises.
Yes, we did.
Which was the most weight we moved was that first workout. With their sandbags, their rucks. So, if somebody has a 60-pound sandbag, it ends up being, for every rep they move that 60-pound sandbag, it's 60 pounds, goes towards that volume count. If they did something with a ruck and a sandbag on, we'd add that together, and that goes towards that volume count. If it's just a ruck, then it's, the ruck weight. So ultimately, they have to hit a certain number. So for each exercise, there's like 22,000 pounds of movement for overhead presses, or there's, 42,000 pounds of movement for pressed ruck with flutter kicks, 4-count flutter kicks, not single count. Because, it wouldn't
why
be any
do you
fun.
single count anything?
Hey, there's a lot of people questioning if it was possible to finish those. I'll say it.
For sure.
You guys came in about 55 minutes and some change on that one, so that was close. It's an hour time cap.
Yep.
But yeah, we ended up having, everybody you just do what you can, and there's no set amount of reps you have to do per se, per person or anything. It's as a group, you just have to move that amount of weight, and then the math comes into play. So not only is it physical,
boy does it.
Not only is it physical, but it's got some cognitive aspects to it too.
It does. And so kind of touching on what you were saying about there not being like an assigned amount of reps.
Yeah.
So we all had different weights, and like, it's tiered. The event is tiered, and there's 3 different tiers. And with that, you have a different standard for your ruck weight and your sandbag weight. So somebody who is like the top tier that has a 35-pound ruck and a 60-pound sandbag, they can do 10 reps of whatever, and it's going to be a way higher volume than the tier that has a 15-pound ruck and a 20-pound sandbag. Yeah. So if they, they would have to double that or triple that to get to
exactly.
So like there's that math that's part of it. So saying that, like there's no assigned reps. There just isn't. This is the workout. Here's the exercise. Here's the movement. This is the total tonnage that you need to move.
Pretty much, right?
And then as a team, you kind of figure it out as it goes along. What Bryan was starting to get to is about the maths.
Yeah.
And the maths is that is an obstacle in and of itself, and we kind of found a flow toward the end of the workouts.
Yeah, I'd say it was the first workout. There was tension. There was tension.
Yeah.
It was.
Yes, there was.
It was. Yeah, that was. I was like, oh man, it's like a freaking dynamite stick gonna blow up in a minute here, and that was sort of fun to watch a little bit.
Of course it was.
So yeah, there was a little tension there because everybody has their own idea on how the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. The workouts are set up so it's you need to put in work, and you're not really able to take breaks per se. So, you do what you can, you take a break here and there type thing, but when you have 2 or 3 people over working on the math, you have 2 or 3 people that are not doing work.
Yeah.
And I sat back and let you guys do your thing.
You did.
And, there was some tension starting to brew on that. But I think after the first workout, you guys sort of figured it out. All right, we're going to set it up on the board. We're going to write out, each of the weight classes essentially up there, the workout. And we're going to just, everybody puts up their numbers every so often, goes up one at a time, fills it out. And then, 30 minutes in, one person goes up and tallies everything up. And then you figure out where you're at. Most likely halfway through, you're not at a point where you're going to overdo anything.
That's not totally true.
Depending on how things go. I mean,
that's not totally true. So the one thing that's really cool about it is like there's that variable. So for instance, on one of the, it's like I'm not super great at body weight movements.
Yes,
but I feel really confident. I love how you say that's true. Like that's true. He sucks at body weight movements.
He's terrible at them.
I am.
I watched.
So
saw it all night long.
So. Damn it,
Superman's what?
No, Superman's. I can get through some Supermans. Anyway,
Starfish.
So starfish. No, it's like the Iraqi soldiers trying to do jumping jacks. That's me trying to do starfish. So but we had a for instance, one of the workouts was like there was a lot of groundwork. So there were cocoons, 4-count flutter kicks, and Superman, and then there were also ruck swings and what was it, side pulls, ruck side pulls or. What do you call it?
Side bends. Yeah.
So, being that I've been doing the HGT kettlebell program, like I've gotten super comfortable with swings. Like I love doing kettlebell swings. So like that's kind of like my bread and butter per se. So like I'm super comfortable doing those. So I was knocking out 100 swings with my ruck in a batch. Yeah. And then I was knocking out 200 of the side bends at a go. Yeah. And then Caitlin was working on like the lower stuff, so it's like we kind of and her weight was less than mine, so it's like there's more efficacy for the movements that I'm doing with my ruck versus a total body count, like a body movement count, which wasn't weight, which is just a rep number.
It's just reps, yeah.
And two, and again, with there not being a specific set of reps that you need to do, it's essentially an hour-long AMRAP.
Yeah.
It's
especially when you leave all the flutter kicks to the last movement.
Yep. And then so that's another thing is you don't know that. Yeah. So you don't really know that. So as you go along and you make that half hour, that 30-minute tally, and you go, oh well, shit. Like we're a little behind on a couple of these exercises. So let's change our direction and focus. And
I think when you guys did your first tally on flutter kicks, you were at like 9,000.
Yeah, it was low.
Out of 42,000.
Yeah, it was low and it was scary.
Yeah. Well, you guys ended up with 15 minutes straight of flutter kicks.
Yeah, because when we did that tally though, we found that because I was doing only the swings and the bends, and I chalked up like 8 or 10K. Yeah. Like just because I just stuck with those movements because I'm good at them and comfortable with them. And then it's like, okay, well, we knock those out so nobody else has to do them. Yep. And then now we can all we're gonna chip this down and we're gonna get, or build it up if you look at that way. But.
And you guys ended up overshooting on a couple things too.
Yeah.
So I think some of it about 1,000 pounds of movement, which isn't crazy. Yeah. When you really break it down, 1,000 pounds of movement, it's not anything much. Crazy. Yeah. But yeah, it was. It definitely is one of those things where, with Caitlin, she has that elbow thing going on and bicep thing going on. So upper body workout, hey, curls, whatever, doesn't feel right, I'm not doing them. And you're going to do more curls and stuff, but hey, I'll cover more of this for you, because I'm just more comfortable doing these. So, that's the other thing, is it's a team event. So there's no real getting out of doing the work per se, where it's like, hey, I can't do these, so give me something different to do. It's, well, then you just do more of something else.
Yeah, it's playing
Play to your
strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we've, like, in the rucking community, we've all become very familiar with the specific aspect of teamwork, and we've all have become accustomed to a specific manner in which a team should or shouldn't function.
Yeah.
And I think that it was really a nice departure from that, because it wasn't just like, well, if you can't carry your ruck, then too bad, or the team suffers because one person can't carry the ruck, so then it gets moved into the team. And then it's not just that person can't carry the ruck, it's that person can't carry a coupon.
Yeah.
That person can't do like can't do other things like sandbag switches and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's not like that per se, but it gives the opportunity to let people who are good at certain things in certain moments, like, really excel in those moments.
Yeah. Well, like Nate, his upper body, he's just freaking strong. He's a beast.
He's a monster.
And he just literally did overhead presses for like the first 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, he legit was just knocking them out. Like, he got done. He was like, I think that one you guys had to do 22,000 on. And he's like, I got 12,000. And then he's like, but my arms feel like they're falling off. I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Obviously.
And he didn't know. And I mean, everything that I program, it's pre-programmed. Like, it's not like I sit there and go like, oh, well, their arms hurt because he did 12,000 pounds of movement on this. Oh, maybe I'll take overhead presses out of the workout later. It's like, no, sorry, man. We got 3 AMRAPs, and they all have overhead presses in them. And
another thing that was really cool too that I did like is it wasn't just, so there are 6 tasks to complete to get full marks or full completed, fully completed.
100% completion.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it wasn't just those tasks. Mm-hmm. So, which was a lot of us around 2 or 3 were like, how is Bryan gonna fill this time? We were kind of curious. Like, we have 2 more tasks to go, and it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And we've only been doing this for 6 hours.
Yeah,
and
be done in an hour or 2.
We'll be going out getting breakfast. Like, the sun's gonna come up. We're gonna get breakfast, and it'll be good. And then there was there's no bullshit. There's a little bit of bullshit, but it's for the most part. Yeah. For the most part, it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
And not a lot is withheld. So if you ask a question, you most of the time get a straight answer.
Yeah.
And you don't get the fuck games.
No.
So, which is great. And so there was other workouts that provided opportunities for us to earn bonuses. So we had an allotted bank of rest time that we could use. So he would have time allotted for us to rest. And if we were like, man, we're gassed after the AMRAP we just did, we need a little extra time, we could pull from our bank and use that to add on rest time. So that means, time to stretch, time to close our eyes, get some more food, fuel, hydrate, whatever. So that was another really cool aspect of it. It was the earning process of that rest time and how to utilize that, even though we didn't earn a ton.
Well, so each one of outside of the final AMRAP, the AMRAPs were a lot of times something to earn, right? So the first one, you guys didn't get it, and that would have gave you the opportunity to choose between the truck pulls or the
Ring of Fire,
the Ring of Fire, whatever you guys want to call that thing, for being for a check off on your patch. So we brought the community in, which is sort of fun too.
That's also an amazing aspect.
So we post a poll in the community group and say, hey, this is what the deal is right now. If they don't complete or don't hit the threshold for the reps on this AMRAP, which of these do you want them to have to, do for a check off on their patch? Or it could be something else. Which of these AMRAPs do you want to do, which is what the final AMRAP was based off of. And, we set the pole up, and we let the pole go for however long it takes until we get to the point where we need to do it. And whatever the winning thing is, that's what they do.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, so we actually started the community poll, I think 2 days out, somewhere around 2 days, 3 days out. And
my vote didn't count.
Yeah, your vote didn't count. Yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference in the end either.
Dang.
Well, no, it's because it was like
you don't
three.
Make a
it was Sand Dune lost by like three votes. So if you want, I'll give you your vote back. You can have it.
Damn.
Sand Dune still loses by 2 votes. Done deal.
I liked the lot. Like we did God of Chaos, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep, that was God of Chaos.
I like that.
It's a steady grind. It really.
But I like it.
It's high volume for each movement, but it's sort of you just go into a groove.
Yep.
And you sort of zone out, and you don't have to really think as much as long as you can keep count.
Yeah.
It's go.
Yeah, you
and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, 50. Oh, cool, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Now I got to do 25 of these. And then you're like, all right, just go. And then you're like, oh, 50 again. Mm-hmm. All right, well, 50. And then you get in that zone, and you just knock it out. But yeah, so you guys, the community voted that if you guys didn't hit that AMRAP threshold, that the final AMRAP would be the God of Chaos.
And it was.
And you guys showed, I think it was like, you guys were only like 100 reps shy on that first one. It was close.
I was also super pukey on the first one.
Yeah, I remember you looked a little white.
Oh man, I was, I must have been ghostly. I was super pukey in the first one.
And but that was the cool thing though, is like, we get the community to make decisions too. Yeah. So it's like, and then like the second AMRAP that you guys had, that was the rest time one. So that was the one where you guys hit the threshold, you get bonus time added to your rest bank. And you guys hit that once, you got the added time in. And then
we also got added time for completing our AMRAPs or hitting our weights.
Primary workouts.
Yeah, the primary workouts. We got 50%. So if we finished 10 minutes early, we would get 5 minutes added to our rest time.
Yep. And the rest time's cool too because you use it, right? You decide. Mm-hmm. If you guys are feeling solid, there's always going to be 5 to 10 minutes or so between movements. So there's never a time where I just go, all right, we just finished this workout, now we're rolling right into the next thing. So there's always going to be a 5 to 10 minute break. And that's, eat something, drink something.
Change.
Get ready, for the next thing, whatever it is. If we're going outside, hey, you're going outside, I give an extra, that's usually a 10-minute, break. Change pants, change shoes, because you bring whatever you want. Literally, bring whatever you want.
I brought 4 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I only ate 3/4 of one.
I mean...
And, brought this. I mean, it looks like a hobo camp.
People bring Yeti coolers stacked, like absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
And they eat some of it, and then they take a lot of it home.
Yeah.
People bring like 2 or 3 pairs of shoes, depending on if are we working out inside? Are we going to be outside? Are we running? Are we rucking? Okay. Like, I've seen people bring like 3 to 4 pairs of shoes. They change whenever they, again, it's whatever you want to do. I don't care.
Having the home base is really nice. Like having that option to be able to fuel and not have to carry everything on your back all the time is great. If you're accustomed to the standard start point, go end X, if you feel like you're gonna need some food along the way, like you got to put in your pack.
Yeah, you got to have it.
You're responsible for carrying that weight. So it's really nice to have that home base, to have that like base of functionality where you can go in and say, you know what, like this movement's going to be an hour, we're outside but we're coming back, so like okay, like I can unload everything in my ruck that I don't need and I'm good to go, and then knowing that you're going to have access to it when you come back. It's literally an extension of your gear. And I don't like, there's no bullshit. Like, hey, we're going out, we're going to be out for 3 hours. If you feel like you need to have something to eat, pack something to eat. Put in your boogie bag.
Whatever it is, throw it in. If this event didn't have stuff like this, but hey, bring, if you got a knife or something on you, bring it. If, because we might do something with rope. Like, I'll tell you straightforward what we're doing for the next movement. There's no, there's the question of like, ooh, what are we doing? I don't know what we're doing type thing. That happens, but it's right before we're going to do it. I break it all down so you know what you need.
Yep. Hence like the no bullshit. Like and like I said, most questions are answered straightforward.
Yeah.
So there's no.
Yeah, I mean the only stuff that I try not to give you right away, like AMRAPs, I'm not going to give you the reps, because if I give you the reps, all of a sudden everybody's doing math in their head and say, well, if I do 200 and they do 200, they do 200.
Now, you're not saying reps per exercise. What he's saying is overall reps as the goal marker.
Yeah.
For the team to
meet. Yep, exactly. And don't get me wrong, my thought is nobody's going to try to cheat. I mean, there's going to be somebody, I'm sure, over time, but nobody's trying to cheat. But at the same time, why give it even the chance? If I know in my head, I'm like, all right, they need to hit 990 reps on this, and I tell everybody you need 990 reps, somebody's going to go out and try to smoke themselves completely to make sure they get it.
Yep.
And, if you really want it, you're going to do that anyways, first off. And two, somebody else is going to look at it and say, like, well, we can't get it, so I'm just going to sit.
We were kind of joking. We were kind of laughing about the last checkbox.
I heard you guys.
we were like, we're just like, we don't care about having we can have a black box. Like, we're just gonna like get through it. We're gonna take our rest, and then we're just gonna do we're gonna do like 10 movements each, and then we're just gonna be done. And we'll patch out. But we didn't do that. We hit all 6. So what was something about the event that you would like to have done better?
Ooh. I mean, I think more people, obviously. If we get more people, that's the big thing. I think with all our events.
But I mean,
as far as this event goes,
how you set it up, what you saw happen, the results of essentially like the results of the work that you put into to get this like set up and going. Like, what is something that like you think you could have done better, or you wanted to have done better? Like, once you saw like what happened.
I mean, I would say one of the things, and it's tough to do it based on where you're at. So, Joe was tasked with a 2-mile move or a 6-mile movement.
Coordinating 6 miles.
Yeah, we're where we're at, and my rule on that is you just have to abide to the traffic rules.
Yeah.
Laws or whatever. There's not a whole lot of space to do it there, and we ended up basically bushwhacking,
Not basically.
We did bushwhack.
Straight up bushwhacking.
Straight up bushwhacking. And the funny thing is he actually went through that the day of with a machete that same day.
That must have been a real dull machete.
So, and again, it comes down, for this event, that's one thing I would have probably liked to have a little bit different. I mean, it worked out, actually.
It was kind of awful. Like, I ate shit like when we were coming back, and it's like I have like this thing about like my ankles because I've damaged them so many times that I'm like super cautious. But it added an element to it that wasn't on concrete. Yeah, which was awesome. And that exactly. we had gone down that path before when I came and shadowed like the first. One of the
throwdowns,
it was the first throwdown in Twinsburg, I think.
Yeah, it was the first
So I came out and shadowed that, and we went through the same field, and it's like, okay, like it's atypical. Like it's not like a trail by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. It's
not intended to be a trail, that's for sure.
Thorns and thistles that are up to your armpits, and you're walking through them, and
I mean, I got sliced up pretty good.
Yeah, I got a couple scratches too. So it takes away from. It doesn't take away, but
it's a different element.
It is a different element, and it breaks up the monotony of rucking on concrete or a trail even. Yeah. So it helps kind of, and we're all laughing about it. Joe's saying we're halfway when we're like an eighth of the way in.
Yeah, it was. You guys were getting.
Yeah, we were, and by the time we were like on the way back, we were returning from the 6 miles, and we were all kind of like slap happy about it. So we were moving. We had these. We all had. There were 3 coupons. There were 6 of us. We had to carry 50%.
Minimum 50%.
Yeah, minimum 50% of what we had brought with sandbags. So it was a total of 110. We needed to carry.
Was the minimum.
Was a minimum, and we ended up carrying 120. We used a 60, a 40, and a 20.
Yep.
And
because there was no way to split it up.
Yeah,
you couldn't get to 110 based on what you guys had.
Right, and there were 260s.
Yeah, you could have done 260s.
But that would have been just we wouldn't have made the hack.
You if you do 260s, the two guys that came with 60s are ready for that. Potentially, and then you have 40. Somebody who's coming in planning to use 40, now having to carry 60.
Yeah, which was me.
And then you have 3 people coming in that are planning to use 20.
Yeah.
And now you're really getting to a point where it's like, all right,
that's major
those
stress.
3 people probably aren't going to handle 60 pounds ideally
well.
for 6 miles. For 6 miles. Now, shorter distance, probably could get away with
whatever,
it. You guys moving around enough. But for 6 miles, splitting up that distance.
That's a piece.
That would be, more or less, that's at least 1 mile with a 60-pound sandbag on your back, essentially.
Yep.
At least. So, yeah, and going through that with sandbags, it's not the most trustworthy steps forward.
No.
Through that. But I don't know if you noticed, it clicked finally on the way back. Joe actually lined the trail with flags. Mm-hmm. That's why I was like, why are there so many flags out here? And I totally forgot.
Yeah,
Joe put them all out there. He actually had a plan to stop at some of the flags and do like a little talk about stuff. And I was like, you're not going to have time, buddy.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we'll work it out.
No.
It's like, no.
Stand by for 1 second.
Yeah.
I got to set the timer again. So, let me put this down and then I'll ask a question. So, we kind of talked about like what didn't go.
Yeah.
Like how you envisioned or wanted it. What's something that exceeded your expectation or that ended up working out like better than you had hoped or worked out in a different way that you hadn't considered? Like what was an aspect of the event that worked really well, you think?
I mean, in all honesty, I didn't expect you guys to get all 6. I honestly
Thanks.
but when I programmed all of that out, I was like, these are gonna be like borderline, like they're either gonna just make it or they're gonna just miss it. And I was like, the odds that you guys are gonna hit all of those when it's such a fine line, in my mind at least, I was like, there's gonna be 1 or 2 that are gonna be just short on, or they're gonna be, come up short on, maybe 2 or something like that. But I mean, you guys, like I said, the ruck, you guys came in 1 minute and 13 seconds. That was
efficient.
I honestly, that was the one, and that was only the second one for a mark on that.
Yeah.
So like that one, I was like, when we were getting ready to go into the brush again, and I looked at my watch and I said, all right, we are at like 5.9 right now. Mm-hmm. And they have like 20, I think it was like 23 minutes or something. Yeah. And I was like, going through this is going to be slow. So they're either going to have to get through this quick, or they're going to get through it efficiently and then really have to pick up the pace.
Yep.
And that movement, I was like, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to happen, honestly. So like, again, I wasn't expecting guys to get all 6, and I'm totally fine with it. It's not a bad thing.
We were too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We're happy about it.
But I was actually pretty happy though that I didn't feel like any of the 6 primary tasks, or even the AMRAPs, that there was oh man, I really messed up on that number. I was like, all right, the AMRAPs, you guys were within 100 on the one you missed the first one. This next one, you meet it by like 1 round or something like that extra. Yep. The next one, you guys missed by like 200 reps or something, which was like half a round or something. So it was all within like a good percentile.
Yeah.
The workouts, you came in first one, you got 44 minutes. And I think that was more just like, you guys just ground that one out. Like you were fresh, you were just like freaking, you guys hit it hard.
Yeah.
Second one, you came in, I think it was like 55 minutes. The third one, you guys came in, I think it was like 56 minutes. So you guys were like, 4 minutes is, especially when you're spent.
Yeah.
I mean, you take a minute break, or if everybody took a minute break somewhere in there, you're not going to make it. Right. So the fact that you guys were so close to not finishing, but you did finish on all those tasks pretty much. And even the truck pull, the truck pull, I had to balance that number out, because I was like, well, when we did the ultimate throwdown, there was a whole lot in the back of that truck.
A lot.
Right? There was a lot of weight.
A lot.
There was, I think we came up, it was like 1,300 pounds or something.
Yeah, plus people.
Yeah, it was a lot of weight.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And that took like, I want to say almost an hour. It was like 49 minutes or something like that. So I was like, all right, based on that number, and then the one time we did it at Ruck Night with nothing in the back, I was like, all right, it's got to be somewhere between. But I'm like, 6 people, based on the weight that they have, we loaded it up in the back. It's not even close to the ultimate throwdown weight. So I shied a little more towards the only, you know, I guess you'd say a body weight truck, right? No added weight.
Yeah.
And you guys came in within 4 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that number wasn't like, hey, you guys showed up at like 20 minutes when I said you had 35 minutes. And part of me was wanting to see where it ended up, and that's why I didn't tell you guys till you hit the turnaround point. I was like, all right, we're looking good. You guys have this amount of time.
So we were we were in the back pushing the truck, and
Nate.
somebody says, you know, I think Bryan doesn't really have an idea of what the time hack is for this.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to like figure it out.
Yeah.
As we're going along, and we all kind of agreed with that as Bryan was riding the brakes.
And I'm hearing it though. I heard it.
Yeah.
So I yelled out the window. I said exactly what we just basically broke down. I was like, no, I based it off of the Ultimate Throwdown and the Ruck Night one.
So,
but the only time I rode the brakes was when the straps were getting loose.
Yep.
That was the only time.
Yeah. Which
I don't want to run somebody over.
Don't understand. So that being said, like I guess this question would be kind of similar, but is there anything that like surprised you? Like, do you remember, like, was there like any moment like throughout the course of the event that you were just like, whoa?
God of Chaos, people getting like 600 reps.
Yeah.
I think it was Andrea and Caitlin both had like 600 reps, and I think Nate had like 594, I think,
like
too.
Yep.
And he's doing with the 60.
Yeah, he's doing 60, yeah.
So those numbers, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, after I heard them, well, so before it even happened, I said, I feel like you guys got it. But once I heard those numbers come out, I was like, all right, they covered enough, I think, for the rest of everybody if they fell short. Because the number was roughly, what was it? I think it was
average like 4 rounds.
Well, it was like 4 plus a few extra reps in there.
Yep.
And the fact that they hit, I think was 6 essentially, or something like that.
Well, so that would
no, I'm sorry. It was 2 full rounds. It was 2 full rounds plus some extra in there. And they hit 4. That's what it was. They hit 4.
Yep.
Or 3. 3.
Yeah, 3 plus change. Yep.
Mathing stuff.
Math. It's been a long day.
Yeah. But yeah, so they hit the 3, and I was like, I mean, just in a regular round of heavy drop training, typically like 2 full rounds of that is like solid. Like that's like usually like nice work. Like you crushed it. So seeing them do that was pretty cool. I mean, again, I wasn't expecting you guys to make that 6 mile movement, that last mile or so. So you guys pulled it together and did that. That was cool to see.
Yep.
Ring of Fire, whatever you guys want to call that thing. I loved it.
Of course you did.
Because you guys were like so frustrated with it.
Yeah.
And that was like all right, you're frustrated, figure it out.
So to explain what that was, so Bryan has a steel ring that's
about 5 inches.
Yeah.
5 inch
about
steel
5 ring. About 5 inches. And the tasking was to have all of our sandbags carabinered to the ring, and then have us carabinered to one another, and we had to stay facing in the circle as we moved this gaggle fuck of sandbags a half mile.
6-legged octopus, some people were calling it.
Yeah, so
like a starfish.
We were trying to figure out what to name it. So
there's a lot of different names coming out.
A lot of different names.
Some we can't say.
Yeah, we're not going to mention those. So it was it was very frustrating. I think that at that point, this was the second to last movement.
Yeah, you're about 11 hours or so at that point.
So we're all pretty tired. We're all pretty gassed, and the novelty of the sun coming up was gone.
Yep.
You get that like, the sun's
like
coming
4
up.
hours.
You get that like it revitalizes you a little bit. And then that wears off because you're still doing stuff that you don't want to do. And, you know, we're stepping on each other's feet, you know, clipping heels. Nobody can figure out, like, which direction to go in. We're trying to, like, rotate so that way everyone's, like, the same people aren't walking backward the entire time.
Yep.
So that was a really telling evolution.
Yeah,
and
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course you did. I'm sure your live viewers enjoyed it too. And you know, looking back at it, you know, of course, like when you're not in it, it's comical. It's funny, and so that was I don't know if I would say that I got like frustrated, but I was definitely over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody was.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There wasn't a single one of me that was like, oh yeah, this is
fun.
going really well. You know,
yeah,
like we can do this all day.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I'm totally fine with this. No, you guys, it was. I mean, I could tell you guys were getting to a certain point, and I was like, we're moving slow enough that I probably should unclip you guys. So then I unclipped you guys, and just had you 2-person clipped. And then at a certain point, I was like, all right, we're still moving slow. We'll see how you guys do just completely, you know, free. And that's when we undid all the clips.
Well, all the carabiners, person to person
attachments there. So, yeah, and you guys sort of figured it out, I would say. We tried a few different things. You know, it was one of those things. You guys sort of started with the ideal plan, and then you were like, well, let's try this idea. Like Nate wanted to shoulder it. That was his thing. He wanted to shoulder it so bad. Yeah. And well, because I mean, again, you're basically farmer carrying. Yeah. So your grip at this point in the event, you know, based on the other things you guys have been doing, it's not going to be the most ideal scenario. But you guys said, sure, let's give it a go, see what happens.
This is also followed, like, this was preceded by a farmer carry that we already had to do, which was essentially like, you know, the dead body carry with sandbags, more or less. And the way it was arranged, the 260s were on one side, and then the lighter bags were on the other.
Who would do such a thing?
Weird.
Why would they do that?
So, you know, some of the team members weren't as comfortable, you know, carrying the 60 because it's not what they brought.
Higher weight.
And it you know, and it's not supposed to be comfortable. I'm not saying that, but
no,
but it's just like, hey, you know, like there's no point in even starting this movement because it's going to be done in 5 seconds, and we're just going to have to switch anyway.
Yeah.
So that preceded this circular ring of hell, the sixth circle of hell. So like that was.
We'll figure a name out.
Yeah, it'll come eventually.
We'll get it figured out.
I thought, you know, I haven't done an event, like a proper. I don't want to say proper event. I mean, the scale it slides a lot, right? So the last thing that I did a double basic scav last summer out in Pittsburgh, and it was tough, man. We had a parking block that we had to carry.
Those suck.
You know, and it suck a lot. And you know, it's not fun. And we were carrying that block like on single track trails in the woods and stuff. You know, but it was also like there was a lot of downtime during that event.
Yeah.
And so it had been a long time since, like a really long time since 2014 since I've done like a grind and done an event that was more than like 5 hours. And like, you know, the double basic, you know, 5 or 6 hours, you get 3 or 4 hours in between, then you do the other one, and you know,
time to eat, sleep.
Yeah, which
stretch.
We had limited amounts of during the
I mean, again, you guys have your time. It's whatever.
So it was really nice being able to do like a hard event again.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like one thing that I really enjoyed about it is it's really approachable. And I think that the ability to scale and to have like the different tiers, I think can be initially confusing when you're starting the event. Like that the first time we're trying to figure out like, hey, what's the weight?
The math.
Yeah. We're not only physical athletes, but we're mental athletes.
Cognitive testing, man.
Yeah.
Cognitive testing.
Yeah, I think that the event was super approachable, and I think that, you know, even at those points in time when, you know, there were team movements that we had to share the weight.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just, you know, a group of people using their own weight to hit a number together. there were times throughout the event where it's like, okay, like this isn't my sandbag, but it needs to be carried, so we're going to carry it.
Yeah.
So, but the ability to come into it and be like, okay, like I know that this is the weight I'm carrying, like this is my ruck, this is my sandbag, and this is what I'm going to be doing all the workouts with.
Yeah.
That I think that makes it, that really opens it up.
Well, yeah.
Because I think that with the lowest tier, or I should say the lightest tier, is that it makes it, it's double duration of a 6-hour event minimum.
Yeah.
And
12 to 16. So.
Yeah. So, but it makes it so that way it's like, hey, like this is manageable. Like this totally is doable. And I did the event with a 25-pound ruck and 40-pound sandbag, and because I was thinking like, man, I'll do the 35-60, and I was like, like I want to be able to have some functionality like after I'm done.
Well, yeah. I mean, it, again, comes down to like you want to have a weight that you can handle throughout, because again, unlike a throwdown event where non-competitive, you can change your weights out, you can do whatever you want, whatever exercises, as long as you stay above the minimum. In this event, we don't have that because you have a team that you can rely on. So you show up with a 60, but you're not doing the weight. Your 60-pound sandbag is added into that weight. That's the volume number. And all of a sudden, if you're not able to pull your own weight, all of a sudden that volume number is going to be really hard to hit.
And everybody pulled their weight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Everybody worked like the first workout we did, I was not too
well, you were almost puking your guts out.
And like I honestly, like I really struggled with that, and like mentally, like that really messed me up. And I was thinking like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing here? Like I thought I was going to be ready for this. I've been doing kettlebell training. I've been losing weight. Like I've been doing all the right things. I've been running. So I've been doing all the things to show up and be an asset. And I'm just dragging ass through this first workout, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Like,
well, again, that was the most volume.
Yeah.
That and again, you're the freshest at that point, so I hit you with essentially, if you think about it in the throwdown standards or the heavy HDT standard of aspects, you guys had basically the soul crusher first. All sandbag movements, heaviest amount of weight.
Check.
Yeah. So
Bryan.
that was literally the goal, was to give you guys the heaviest amount of weight.
Yep.
All sandbag movement, because again, you're more or less fresh. You just did an AMRAP and that's it.
So what was the total volume? Do you approximately what the total volume was?
So as far as the 3 workouts go, I think we were about 380,000 total. I don't know with AMRAPs, because there's not unless I literally asked every single one of you your numbers and then times it by the weight and all that stuff. So we don't math that much, but
so with the AMRAPs, we probably surpassed the 500,000 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about that, and we kind of figured that.
Yeah, because I mean, if you figure, I mean, just alone, look at God of Chaos. Nate did like 590 something reps, times that by 60 basically.
Yeah.
So
say 6 times 6 is 36, what, 3,600 or 36,000.
36,000 right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just one AMRAP.
Yeah.
Now you go and do the other
person
ones.
In one AMRAP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, you add in all the AMRAPs, definitely over that mark. But yeah, I think as far as the 3 primary workouts, which again are the easiest for me to tally because I literally need to know the number. That was about, I think, 380, somewhere around 380,000 total. It was 143 for the first one, 125 and 109, I think, was the breakdown. I don't know why I can pull those numbers out right now, but I think that's the three weights for. So if anybody wants to add that together, somewhere around 380 something, I think. But that was the total number for those 3 workouts.
So if you've been following Goodwerks for a while, you know that I sponsor HDT and the throwdowns. I offer up Goodwerks gear, so that way for the competitive division, for the throwdowns, first place gets a boogie bag, second and third place gets some pouches.
Yep.
I've known Bryan since 2014. seeing the community and business around HDT grow over like the last almost 10 years. HDT was started in 2016, 17?
2017.
Okay, so
we're going on six or
years.
6 or 7 right now.
So seeing that progress in like the last 6 or 7 years, or whatever is math.
Yeah,
Math. It was really important that I found a way to connect with that. Because I really think that the way HDT is run is unique, and I think that it's a business run with integrity.
Yeah.
And that's important to me because that's how I try to run my business as well.
Yeah.
So it's I was really grateful that I had the opportunity to come out and do this, and I'm like really glad that, because I've been wanting to do a team event for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult for me to pay the other company to go do their events because I don't like spending my money with them because I'm not supportive of them. So it was really great to kind of get back to that and not be behind the camera.
Yeah.
So because I've shot 3 or 4. I've shot 3 or 4 throwdowns.
Yep.
Where I've at least shadowed and been around. Mm-hmm. So like actually having time like under the ruck, under the sandbag, like working with a team, being a part of a team was like really great. And I'm super excited that this team event is here.
Yeah.
Like that it's I really want to get you to do a cold weather Pittsburgh event.
We'll see. I mean, like I said, it's we did less on the books for next year already, just because of numbers from last year and signups and stuff and how things have been going. So there is potential that we can add some stuff for next year still, which again would most likely be collective-based events.
Yeah, great.
Again, it's all about finding the times that work and stuff, and lining it up with family schedule type stuff too. But
so what's the best way to find heavy drop training and HDT events?
HeavyDropTraining.com.
Okay.
And then once you're there, that's our training program main page, but there's events. It says it literally, HDT events on it. Click it, the whole schedule comes up. But yeah, that's the easiest way to get to it. And it's got all of our events. So that's not just like the collectives, it's throwdowns, it's Cerberus, it's no one cares what you can do, fresh barbell events.
Q-mods.
Q-mods, Q-mars, knockouts. Knockouts anybody can do.
Yeah,
Last
absolutely.
4 to 6 hours of a throwdown event, you stuff some pillows in your ruck if you want. I'm not checking weight. There's no limits. Like, you can go as low as you want. Throw some helium in it if you want to go negative weight. I don't care. It'd be interesting to see a bunch of people with helium bags or something. But yeah, knockouts anybody can do. Non-competitive, most people can probably get away with, especially because you can adjust weight. Competitive is a beast. Straightforward. You need to be on a different level.
Yeah. So I'm registered for the Charlotte event that's coming up, and I was like, there's one competitive slot left. I'm like, man, I'm registered. I may as well just do it, and then you can fall back out of competitive and adjust as you need. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna let somebody who actually wants to compete have that spot. So, if you had to sum up HDT, like really quickly, like what would you, like for those of you who are actually still watching this or listening to this that haven't figured out or like don't really know about heavy drop training, if you could sum it up really quickly, like what is heavy drop training?
Community. Yeah. I mean,
give me,
sandbag.
I need a little more than that.
I mean, it's all about the community. In all honesty, though, like, we're not making money on these events right now. Hopefully, we do at some point. Like,
well, expand, like not just events though. Like, what is like heavy drop training? Like the programming.
Yeah. I mean, so we do. The programming obviously is what we started with. We've been doing programming for 6, almost 7 years now, or 5, almost 6 years now, whatever it is. So we've been doing programming and stuff. We've had thousands of people at this point that have gone through our program. 6-week program, sandbag and ruck based. You can do a ruck and bodyweight based program and just a straightforward bodyweight program. There's optional stuff in there, and I think some of the stuff that people get hung up on is they see a checkbox and they just want to make sure they get everything done. But the optional stuff, you don't need to do it.
That's a real
thing. You don't
thing.
need to do it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people struggle with the idea of like, hey, that thing's just sitting there, and I know I don't have to do it, but
I gotta.
I feel like I have to do it to get that green little check. But yeah, I mean, it's and again, we pair people up with people who want to get paired up with people to help with the accountability. So
Yep.
you have people checking in and say, hey man, did you get your workout in this week? Did you do this? Did you do that?
Yep.
And we allow you, if you want to, you can request a buddy that's like somebody
buddy.
and you can be buddies before the HDT and do the program together. Ideally, I say do a random battle buddy, because your first impression on somebody is going to be what you do for that program. So if you go in there and you slack off, that initial person that you don't know and they don't know you, they're going to be like, XYZ person, man, they are a slacker. They don't do nothing. Nope. And it doesn't matter if you're like a freaking CEO of a company. That's their impression. Yep. Because you didn't do the work. And the expectation was that you did the work. You were going to do the work, and you didn't do the work. So it typically pushes people more when they have a random battle buddy.
Yeah, and it's a work-based community.
Yeah, definitely. It's not, can you do the most weight? Can you lift the heaviest?
No,
like that stuff doesn't matter.
Be consistent and put the work in.
It's put the work in. Yeah, it's just, go do the work, and if you do the work, you check off the boxes.
You get results. And also, what he hasn't mentioned yet is that we are now on the second round of kettlebell training with heavy drop training, which is a program by Chrissy Davini, who's kettlebell mastermind, evil genius.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been doing and seeing great results from.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else?
And we got barbell now too.
And barbell.
We just started a squat, bench, deadlift program. You can tie that in with the HDT stuff, sort of balances everything out. I've gotten great results from it. I'm PRing all my heavy lifts, so I'm pretty stoked over that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, check us out. Follow us, Instagram.
Yep. I'll leave a link in the description.
Cool.
And,
I mean,
down below.
We're always open for business, and we're always looking to have fun. Good community. Yeah. Everybody's positive. I don't deal with negative stuff. One of the big posts I always put out there, if anybody in our groups ever feels body shamed or that they're getting negative feedback from other people or anything like that, I will refund that person their money and kick them out of the program and not let them back in, because that's not what we're about.
The person who's
who's not the person
Yeah.
The person who's causing the issues.
Yeah.
So we don't deal with that stuff. Like I said, it's all positive community. That's the goal, and we don't deal with anything less than that.
Thank you guys for listening, watching. Obviously, thanks for Bryan for his time. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
My goal is to create more videos, more podcasts involving people in the GoodWorks community. I think it's really important to highlight those folks and talk about what they do, and not necessarily in relation to GoodWorks, but the community is very diverse. I mean, I guess you could say, and there's folks from all different walks of life in the GoodWorks community, which I'm super grateful for. So thanks for hanging out with us and listening to his talk. Please be sure to check out Heavy Drop Training, HDT events. I won't be able to walk tomorrow. It was worth it. I had a great time with my team. I really got to, spend some really quality time with people that I care about. So that was it was a great thing to come back to doing events. That was a really good reintroduction to doing events and stuff. So
unique too.
Absolutely. It's definitely a different spin. If you have any questions, as always, you can send me a DM on Instagram. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Heavy Drop Training, and then HDT events.
Okay.
So both
and
of those.
And then heavydroptraining.com?
Yep.
Okay. So thanks for hanging out again. If you would, I hate saying this, but I'm going to say it. If you can like, subscribe, and
the typical follow, all that stuff. Yeah.
Comment, subscribe, whatever. It's stuff down at the bottom.
Every YouTube does it.
Not every, but a lot of them. So keep an eye on the newsletter, of course, if you're interested in GoodWorks products. All the info goes out in the newsletter. I'm Tim. This is Bryan from Heavy Drop Training. thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome, man.
Cool. You guys have a good one. Thank you.